You were also pretty good friends with Keith Whitley.
Oh, yeah, man. We were like brothers. Probably 2 weeks before he died, we were out on the road together. We did a lot together. We sang together and probably did some things we shouldn't have been doing together, but I remember, man, he came in. I think we'd been out doing some shows, and we came into town to take a few days off. We were going to go back out, and the phone rang at the house, and it was Jack McFadden, who was Keith's manager.
Yeah.
And a real good friend of ours, too. We all knew each other really well. And Lori and all of us knew each other very well. And the phone rang at the house, and it was Jack. And Jack said, I said, "Hey, man, what's going on?" He said, "Keith's dead." And I said, "That ain't even funny." And he started crying. He said, "Yeah, man, we found Keith dead." And I started crying, and he said, "I can't face these cameras. Can I send them all over to y'all's house?" And so I said, "Yeah, I guess." So these news people showed up at our house, and we kind of had to be the guy. I was kind of the guy, to face all those people and go on the news and all that. It was a bad day. And I can't believe it's been 35 years ago, man.
Yeah.
It seems like yesterday, actually. Keith was a great guy. He was a great guy, and boy, he would have been, if he'd have lived, he'd have been probably as big as anybody ever.
Oh, I'd imagine so. His legacy has definitely lived on. Sometimes I'll do these live streams on the internet, and everybody still wanting to hear those old Keith Whitley songs.
For somebody that didn't have any more records out than he did, he sure has had a lasting influence on especially young singers.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't imagine that, though, being in your shoes. Your friend passes away and having to face these cameras and all that had to be tough.
Oh, it was. A lot of crying going on that day. It was a mess, man. I couldn't believe it.
One of Keith Whitley's closest friends in the music business, T. Graham Brown, joins us now live. How did you hear about Keith's death today?
A friend of mine called me up. That coroner's report kind of shakes me up. Keith and I, we've had a special relationship for about 3 years now. Man, I hate to lose him. He's a real good guy. I know all of his friends and songwriters are going to miss him. I worked with him a couple of weeks ago, and we were making plans to do his Memorial Day show in his hometown. I tell you, I'm so sorry.
T. Graham Brown, did Keith Whitley have a drinking problem? How significant is this finding of the coroners?
Keith had problems, like everybody has problems. I don't want to say any more than that. I'm sure he was hurting, though.
Yeah. He was enjoying, though, great success in his career.
Oh,
was he happy?
He was right on top of it. And I mean, it seemed to me like he was doing fine. I was really praying for him, and I knew he felt the same way for me, and man, I hate to see him go.
Had he been recording or touring? You said you were planning a big show.
Well, we did a show with a package show, Steve Warner and the Shooters and I, a couple of weeks ago in Fayetteville, and Keith was planning a hometown Memorial Day show, and he had invited me to be on it, but there's no way it's going to happen.
Yeah. His fans, and he has many in this area, they certainly will miss his music. How do you think he's contributed to the country sound?
Oh man, he was one of the best, and he was coming up strong, and I thought he had beat all of his problems, and I mean, we all knew he was a star, and we're all saddened by it, and I was just glad that I got to know him as long as I did. I had a real special relationship with him. He's an awful good friend.
T. Graham Brown, we know it's hard to collect your thoughts at a time like this, but we do thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh, you're welcome.